So LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is here, our first LEGO game in almost 5 years. And from all the marketing, it really seemed like it could be LEGO's best and biggest yet. A celebration of the Caped Crusader's entire history, from the comics to the movies, even his other games. And now, having played through it, I can definitively say I feel hopeful for the first time in a long time. Not about like the world or humanity or anything, are you crazy? I'm hopeful about LEGO games. Now that's not to say I went into LEGO Batman with any slivers of doubt that it would be fun. Like I said, the marketing did its job very well. But I would be lying if I said I had zero fears about some of the new features. Some important context here is that I grew up playing LEGO games. From the original LEGO Star Wars back in 2005, all the way through LEGO Avengers in 2015, I did everything I could to get my hands on every new title. There was just something so simple and charming about taking these huge IPs and telling their stories through a LEGO-fied lens. Like this cutscene from the complete saga is genuinely how I found out Darth Vader was Luke's father. And like, have I seen a single Indiana Jones film? No! But do I know the basic plots of every single one because of LEGO Harrison Ford? Yes! So it's safe to say any LEGO game will always hold a special place in my heart. But ever since April 5th, 2022, it's been extremely hard for me to say that. Now you might be sitting there wondering, what kind of traumatic experience could have happened on that date to make me rethink my love for this entire series? This happened. LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. What's to say about this game that hasn't already been said? Just like Batman, it was advertised as the next biggest and best LEGO game, a celebration of 9 films in a galaxy far, far away. And for what it's worth, that should have been the easiest promise to deliver on. 9 films worth of levels, almost 400 unlockable characters, 24 fully explorable planets, and a new skill tree system? What could possibly go wrong? Oh. The levels are just walking around with little to no puzzles? Oh, half the roster is just reskins of other characters with no unique effects or abilities? Oh, every single planet feels empty and devoid of things to do after the story? Oh, and the updates to the yeah, this game sucked. Now, in the spirit of being anti-critical, I know the game faced numerous difficulties during production, but it still felt like the Skywalker Saga was more concerned with being big than it was with being fun. The updates to the classic LEGO gameplay just didn't mesh with the elements that they did decide to keep, leaving it feeling insanely hollow and bland for me. That release started what I call the dark times for LEGO games, because in the years after, we were treated to such strong titles as LEGO Fortnite, LEGO 2K Drive, and how could we ever forget fan favorite, LEGO Horizon Adventures. These releases were all completely devoid of everything that had made LEGO games great in the first place. LEGO Fortnite is just Minecraft with Fortnite emotes, 2K Drive is just a racing game, and I don't even know what Horizon was trying to be, but it just felt like LEGO saw the negative reviews of the Skywalker Saga and took all the wrong notes from it. With years going by without any news of a new game in their classic style, it seemed like LEGO games were just never going to be the same again. And that brings us to last year, when rumors started circulating of a brand new LEGO game developed by TT that would span all of Batman's cinematic appearances. Basically a LEGO Batman The Skywalker Saga, which sounds like it would be amazing if it was true, but there's no way that's actually happening.
The bat is back!
Well, dope. Now again, I can't lie and say that first trailer immediately had me sold. Yes, the cinematics and story looked incredible, but just like the Skywalker Saga, it seemed to me like it could be another instance of overly ambitious development from the LEGO team. I mean, how can you blame me? A brand new combat system inspired by the much more complex Arkham games, the largest connected open world ever in a LEGO game, a fully revamped skill tree system, and scariest of all, there would only be 7 playable characters. That last point is really what had me on the fence for the longest, cause I mean, when was the last time a LEGO game released with a roster smaller than 100 characters? Let alone less than 10? So much of the fun of those older games was filling out their colorful rosters of characters, ranging from random civilians to some really cool inclusions meant to spotlight lesser known characters. Even with all the previous LEGO Batman's negative reception, the one undeniable highlight of that game was its roster. Like, we finally got Condiment King and Detective Chimp in LEGO form, this shit is peak. But the developers seemed very confident in their decision to restrict the roster, later explaining how it allowed them to create the most detailed and individualized characters in any LEGO game to date. These wouldn't just be simple palette swaps. They were all going to have unique skill sets that were useful and fun in their own ways. Batman's got his gadgets reminiscent of the Arkham games, Catwoman can control cats, and even Commissioner Gordon's got some fun little guns that make him way more than just a guy with a pistol. The developers seem to be approaching every new feature with a deep level of care that actually made it seem like they knew exactly what they were doing from when development started right until release day. So now that that day has passed, did they deliver?
Yeah, boy!
Like I said, this game gave me hope again. It seriously feels like this is what they wanted to pull off with the Skywalker Saga, but just weren't able to because of all the development problems. What I mean by that is this game is exactly what a natural evolution of the LEGO game formula should feel like. Every new system works in tandem with the others to create an experience that feels so much deeper than the other LEGO titles, yet still doesn't feel entirely unfamiliar. For example, the new skill tree system works so well, not only because the upgrades are cool and change how you approach combat, but also because of the brand new combat system that implements things like stealth attacks, blocking, parrying, enemy stuns, and more, which make fights way more fluid than just running around and spamming the attack button. Although that still does work in some segments. And both of those work so well because this game is the first ever LEGO title to introduce difficulty settings. Now, I played through the game on the hardest difficulty, and it was still far from challenging, but there were actually a few times that I got overwhelmed by enemies and had to restart a segment of a level. The addition of stakes to LEGO combat is never something I actually thought I'd need, but only having 3 lives per level actually made me want to stay alive and fight through more creative means than just full-on punching. All of these features make combat smoother, more intentional, and arguably more fun than any LEGO combat system to come before it. And again, the best part of all of this is that none of these new inclusions come at the cost of any staples of the old LEGO games. Puzzles are alive and well again, and most actually have you build something, which I know sounds like a weird thing to point out, but something that always felt off in the Skywalker Saga was the lack of actual building. Like, you can go multiple levels with 0 puzzles that involve making something out of bricks, which just shouldn't be the case in a series based on literal building blocks. Luckily, LEGO Batman fully fixed that issue and put building back in the spotlight from the get-go, while still featuring plenty of other unique puzzle variations to keep things fresh. And that's not even mentioning the over 150 different Riddler and Cluemaster puzzles in the open world, some of which genuinely left me stumped to the point of walking away. Which could either mean I'm a dummy, or the developers actually tried to make some challenging puzzles. And since I'm choosing to believe the latter, that's really cool. The fact these games are primarily made for kids, yet they still chose to add puzzles of scaling difficulty, shows that they were thinking about making a fun experience for everyone. The open world here is just a treat in general, with loads to do at any time wherever you are in this massive Gotham City. Side quests, puzzles, the shop, even just driving around the Batmobile at full speed never seems to lose its charm. It seriously seems like every single building in the city has something to do around it. Like, I've been running around the postgame for around 10 hours now, and my map is still almost full in some areas, which is almost unheard of for a game in the series. On top of that, they made sure traversing Gotham was just as fun as completing the missions in it. Every single character gets their own exclusive set of vehicles that can tear through town with their boosts. Plus, everyone has their own grappling hook and glider, which let you swing around Gotham faster than ever before. One of my favorite features in the older LEGO games are characters that can fly, just because they made getting around the map so much easier and way more fun. So the fact that getting around is still fun without flight means the devs did something right. There's seriously so much detail given to this game's open world, making it feel like you will never run out of things to do. Now, praises aside, there are still a few elements of the game that I'm not entirely sold on. Red bricks are an iconic staple of LEGO games, having featured in every game since LEGO Star Wars 2 back in 2006. Typically, after unlocking them, these collectibles let you change the game in some way. From permanent stud multipliers to collectible detectors, even cosmetics like the iconic disguises. But in Legacy of the Dark Knight, they've been turned into simple paint jobs for your character's suits and vehicles, which would be a fine change if over half of the color schemes weren't objectively ugly. Like, why is Batman green? The effects they add to your glider are pretty sick, but most of the time I found they're just not worth having to deal with. I do wish there were at least a few classic red bricks that changed the game, but alas, you get what you get. I also do still feel like this game could have had a few more playable characters, but again, with how in-depth each character feels and how the story plays out, I understand why they made that decision. Plus, they even announced DLC that'll let you play as Harley Quinn and the Joker, which seems like it'll be really fun. So who knows, maybe they'll keep doing that and we will ultimately have a full-looking roster. Beyond that, I seriously don't think I have any other complaints. Legacy of the Dark Knight was a fantastic return to form for LEGO games, while simultaneously evolving the series to heights it had never reached before. My Skywalker Saga trauma is healed and my hope for the series has returned. I'm over here now thinking about what other characters they could give this treatment to. Like, imagine a LEGO Marvel Infinity Saga game in this style, or even just Spider-Man. Oh my god, that'd be so cool. Anyways, as long as whatever comes next is given this level of care and polish, you know my money is as good as spent. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. If you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Any support means the world. Thanks so much for watching, and remember to stay anti-critical.